Uno. Well, let me kick it off. Welcome everybody to the first ever Shopkick Sessions. We're super stoked to have everyone here.
Yay!
Thank you for mariachiing. You guys are fantastic. Shopkick Sessions was created to really just kick off thought leadership and what's happening out there in the market and the industry as it relates to anything significant or substantial that we can share with partners internally or externally. So I am super pleased to welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Please?
Super pleased.
Oh, okay. Or stoked.
And stoked, yeah.
Let's go super
The co-host of the amazing podcast, ADLANDIA,
Thank you.
which we're all super fans of here. Two women who just, and I hate to overuse the word disrupt, but they really do. I mean, they just think about it differently than everybody else does, right? Because they live it day to day. So Alexa Christon.
Yes. So happy to be here.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
And Laura Correnti.
I'm super pleased to be here.
I am
Or stoked.
We're so
stoked and pleased. Hey, listen, Laura Correnti, the first client that I ever had in this world of media, which is this crazy media business, and B,
How old are you? No, don't tell.
when I got a call from the Shopkick recruiter to come and potentially interview for
know.
Shopkick, the first person I called to ask about Shopkick was Laura Correnti. And Laura Correnti was like,
I don't think that's how it went down. I
Something
think
like
you
that?
were like, it's Tuesday. Do you want to meet at the bar?
that's exactly how
what
it
we
happened.
did.
Yeah.
super pleased.
Super pleased.
Super pleased.
It was
Super pleased.
it's more of an excuse to go to the bar and then, oh, by the way, Shopkick.
Right.
But anyway, super happy to have you guys here. Super stoked, super pleased. Thank you. And then Michael Retta, our internal self-proclaimed brand expert, MBA.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, wow. Hello. Thank you. for having me. It is not self-proclaimed. I did
to
not
get-
proclaim that myself.
To give Michael actual credibility, Michael has been a brand manager at Conagra, Heinz, Abbott, brings a lot of substantial knowledge to the CPG marketplace, as well as like the topic we're going to be sharing today, which is shaping.
Does Freddie make you wear those Vans, or is
Yeah.
that your own selection?
Yeah.
He encourages it, so
Okay.
it gives me points.
Super pleased.
Yeah.
Super pleased to wear these
Yeah,
Vans.
you're cutting into my brand loyalty, like brand. That's it. It's Van. So anyway,
Super loyal to Vans.
So thank you everybody for being here, and let's kick it off.
Cool.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, guys. So, well, it's a small group, so we want interaction.
It's intimate.
It's intimate. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about yesterday, we talked on the phone, right? And Laura and I have a perspective about where brands are going in their relationship with consumers and why loyalty is so important. But we want to hear from you guys. Where has loyalty been and where are we today in loyalty programs?
Yeah, so we were chatting a bit earlier. I think it's unique in the sense that, maybe 10 years ago, loyalty was much more of a one-to-one relationship between a brand and a consumer. And even as we were talking, I think it was Julia had mentioned earlier, she's somewhere, there she is. And Kim had mentioned like Zappos, and I think now the construct of loyalty has changed so dramatically in the sense that someone can be loyal to a company like Zappos or Amazon, but disloyal to the range of brands that they might sell, both from the CPG category as well as footwear and apparel, things of all that nature. And so it's a much more challenging game for brands to achieve that one-to-one relationship. And so I think it's a different environment in the sense that you need to think about your own programs and how you're offering rewards, both monetary, but I think those are challenges in terms of training your shoppers to buy on deal consistently. And looking beyond that in terms of the utility you're providing in terms of recipes and things of that nature. If you're a food brand or other opportunities to use your product, I think of like Arm & Hammer baking soda and how they've created a market for themselves in terms of how they think about putting it into freezers and things like that. And I honestly have no idea why you would do that, but people do it. And they're
My
selling
mom
their
does
products
it.
that way.
No, excuse me, I do it.
Yeah, what does it do?
So,
Why?
and if you
though?
don't do it, you probably have a stinky fridge.
Right. Does it work?
Yes, it works.
Okay.
Yes, believe it or not, it
I don't
works.
do it.
It does.
Right?
Okay.
Okay, we have other people.
Yeah, shame on me, I guess. And then I think about like even more broader things like causes and thinking about like Dawn dish soap and Friday night. We're talking earlier today in terms of like oil spills and things that go on with water and
They have a great ad about that.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they
Yeah.
go out
Literally
and they-
can get anything out of anything.
Exactly. And then like Tide has done things
Except
with,
hummus from a 2-year-old who's like done this. Yeah.
you know, other brands like Tide have done things with like laundry and things like that. So I think if you think about endearing yourself to causes, and I think the construct is still the same as it always has been, which is you're essentially trying to get someone to stick with your product in absence of other alternatives, right? So someone can pay more for you for the same kind of benefits, or they're going to, you know, choose you versus another that might have more offerings, things of that nature. And so, you know, it's just a much different game than it's ever been.
Are
So-
you guys brand?
I was just going to say, so
Yeah.
one of the things that you're getting to is this idea of value exchange, right?
Yes.
And so whether you're a CPG product or you're a big corporation that you're not necessarily buying in a shopping lane, but something that you're investing in for the long haul because you believe in that company's beliefs,
Yeah.
for example. The idea of value exchange, especially for a millennial audience, has changed tremendously. It's no longer about give me a 15-cent coupon, like my grandmother was a queen of ShopRite coupons and the can sale, God rest her soul. But I think one of the things that's interesting is for a millennial audience, triggers include things like philanthropy and the causes that you're talking about. So in a company like Shopkick, where you're incentivizing people to come in a store for kicks or kickbacks, which depending on your ethnicity could be an interesting sort of incentivization, but really good incentive for Italians. But besides that, I think what's interesting is how far can the discount at the point of retail go, in where Shopkick is now going to have to start thinking broader in terms of how they build those relationships.
For both of you. For either of you.
Super pleased.
Yeah, I mean, I think having less insight into the broader scope of our future innovation, I think that, you know, we are taking a step towards, you know, I think retailer agnostic and even to some degree brand agnostic rewards, in the sense that we're incentivizing shoppers to take actions with a currency that they can take action with at their choosing. So be it, I'm personally holding out for a Vespa within our app. I'm going to get there at some point, but you can donate to charity, be it pet related or feeding America, things of that nature. You know, choose your favorite retailer gift cards. But, you know, that's the first step forward.
Sure.
And then I think, you know, looking at opportunities where you don't even have to be engaged with a product at a store. You can engage with a range of potential things like visual identification and things of that nature, I think, are where it's going, because the landscape is only going to continue to get more crowded. The messaging is only going to continue to reach shoppers. I had a meeting this morning with an agency, and they were talking about working with a mobile partner that's going to potentially target mobile ads based on the proximity of the phone on the shopper. Mm-hmm. And that means like pocket, like hand, things of that nature. And so it's only going to continue to get more personalized. And I think personalization is another piece of it that's really critical, is understanding who the shopper is and how you can provide them utility and benefit beyond your product itself.
Talk about Amazon, Alexa. We were talking recently about...
Did anyone see Amazon Smile? They like quietly started doing like sign up. So I was logging into my, like in February, right? Did anybody else? Yes, I'm getting nods. Yes. I thought it was so smart because I logged into my Amazon account, and immediately it pushed me over to Smile and said, you don't have to do anything. Just pick your charity. And I was like, yes. I make sure I'm always logged in to Amazon Smile now. Always.
And what's the trade-off?
St. Jude's gets my money.
Mine too.
It's awesome. I know. I think loyalty has gotten really not controversial, but in the marketing advertising world, we get excited because it is controversial for us, right? Because people think about it generally as couponing, or have thought about it generally as couponing, which totally undervalues what loyalty, in my mind, means. Can we redefine loyalty now for the future and for brands, and explain to them what does it mean? I mean, in your mind, what does loyalty to a brand actually mean? I'm all for utility. We talk about it all the time. We're like, what's the value? What's the utility? I actually think loyalty has potentially more emotional value than we give it credit for.
Ooh,
Yes.
you took the thought right out of my mind. So I think
Go figure.
what's interesting about it, right, is that traditionally brands have talked about loyalty and think about it, Michael, in the way you just described,
Yeah.
right? It's somebody that comes back. They're a repeat purchaser. There's somebody that you would consider upselling. I actually think that loyalty needs to be defined as ambassadorship, and how brands can think about turning that brand affinity into something actionable that then becomes earned value for that brand, right? So the idea of I'm somebody who incessantly loves Jeep. I might want to Jeep might want to talk to me to then turn that back out and incentivize me not just to upsell on X product feature, et cetera, in my next lease, for example, but how I go out and recruit more like-minded individuals and incentivize me to do that.
Or say, hey, Laura, from a loyalty experience, we're going to actually give you an experience. Come and ride in a Jeep. Like, we're going to take you off-roading and for your friends.
Right.
Like, to me,
it's
I feel
offline.
Like that relationship of, like, real experience that enriches your life, that's what millennials are looking for.
Yeah, and we talked yesterday about MasterCard, how they, had the tagline of, I don't know, do this, do that, priceless, right? Yeah. Which was a very, connected to their brand, but they've brought that to life in terms of experiences. So if you go to priceless.com now, you'll see a range of experiences that you can have and do as, I guess, a MasterCard card owner, which provides even more tangibility to what we're describing. And I think, and harkening back even also to the Dawn example, it's like leveraging and connecting that emotional cause provides that connection, I think, even more broadly, if it's not an experience, but to something that's even bigger than the brand and bigger than the shopper, that makes them think of and harken back to that when they actually go to shelf and see that brand.
So I am pleased to introduce Mariam Dombrovskaya.
Oh, very good.
Thank you.
We've been practicing for a few months on this one. Yeah.
So she leads our retail partnership here at Shopkick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about the point of retail.
I loved your question and our roadmap, how we think about that. Michael.
As Michael's running out the door.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's not interested in the roadmap.
People like watching streaming. They're like, "What's going on?"
Cue the mariachi band.
Cue the mariachi band.
Yeah. So when we think about the roadmap, there's really like two trends that we need to monitor. One is that everything is moving to such a data-driven approach, right? So everything is so predictive, and everything is optimized. And on the other hand, what about the human touch? Right?
We love the human touch.
The fact that how do you get surprised? How do you have those joyful moments that Freddie was describing, and how do you actually continue to drive the value add that we drive to most of our partners, which is really, hey, you're going to acquire new customers that have not interacted with your brand or have not shopped here. Now, if everything becomes data driven, then that goes away kind of, right? Because
then
you
what are you
only
loyal
offer
to,
exactly
right?
Because you only offer what I know you will consume based on your previous behavior. And so the thing that we're really thinking about is, as we are definitely obviously moving into the data-driven space and moving into a place where we want to, on the one hand, for the user, personalize your experience and make it what you want, sure. And for the retailer and brand, offer you the opportunity to really target in a very data-driven way.
You can influence what Laura's saying and what we've talked about, and what I mentioned to you yesterday on the phone when we were talking was like, I actually think loyalty influences more at the top of the funnel in so many ways than it's just been given credit for at point of sale.
I agree. I think we're breaking through with that. I think brands are getting really smart. I think they're seeing that. I think they're seeing the value exchange in that. And we're proving it out.
Okay. The question is, I'm not that familiar with the app, but how do you maintain spontaneity within the app? Because when I shop, I'll be like, oh, this, I didn't think I wanted this, but now I do.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've thought about this, so I'm kind of setting you up here. But the more you use data and the more you know exactly what users are going to want, how do you program for spontaneity?
Can I add to that? That's actually can I add to that?
Yeah,
Did you know that's like a huge issue with like the convenience store? You guys probably know this, right? Like Mondelez used to talk about it all the time. Bonin talked about it all the time.
Where is Bonin?
I don't know. I just got invited to the Hamptons with him. Anyway, so where you would go into the you go into the convenience store, and instead of buying Oreo, for some reason, Fig Newton would like tickle your fancy, and you grab the Fig Newton, Oreo loses, right? Mm-hmm. So, great question, because it's actually a huge issue.
Anything, right? Like if you know exactly what users are going to want, like 2 years from now to a T. there's no spontaneity in like your digital experience?
Yeah, I think we're still working on knowing exactly what you will want in 2 years. You know, like, and I do think that everyone who tells you they do know is full of it,
Totally.
because they don't. You don't even know.
Yeah.
So, but I think our really the purest form of the mechanism is because we have the kicks, which is kind of our currency with which we incentivize users to do all kind of different things. If you pair that up with the fact that you move and we track to a certain degree where you are, and even when you drive by an opportunity to shop, we know when to tell you, hey,
Right, you push it.
exactly, you push it in front of them very unexpectedly. Like the algorithm also has an element of surprise, so that if you drive by every day the same thing, that you wouldn't get the same message about the store. And then we actually work with a lot of partners who have a better expertise in in-app messaging and things like that, for instance, where we can surprise you and delight you throughout the day.
Can you tell us what brands are doing it best? Like what brands are kind of creating, it could be category, it could be specific, the best loyalty exchange on the market that are somebody that other brands can look to for guidance or inspiration for how to think about this world?
So I think the worst example is United, and then the best example, funny enough, I would think people like Coca-Cola and Pepsi are some of the people who do it best, because they I mean, if you think about how they've been
You would think they would be. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, on the one hand, you would think they would be, but on the other hand, when you also look simply at their revenues and how they're still able to drive that with, in a world where they absolutely, but you would think that they would decline even much more than they do. And I think that the thing that they get right is that whole emotional aspect. But I do think that it's kind of a dying brand. And then when you look at the newer brands, they all have to do with sustainability, or to your point earlier, philanthropy, or anything that's like beyond materialistic or beyond.
There has to be some purpose,
exactly,
like emotional purpose,
and
life
importance.
purpose.
In my personal world, I think Dunkin' Donuts does it really well.
Yeah, that's true.
Who?
Dunkin'
He
Donuts.
talks about
Dunkin'
them
Donuts
every
does
day.
an amazing
Yeah,
job. That's actually an amazing example.
Yeah,
They are killer of.
So
they're killer
they
about it.
combine. So when you think about loyalty in general, for me, I think about, we were talking about this earlier. I'm oddly brand loyal. Like I love my Adidas Copa Mundials that I've been wearing since I was like 5 years old. I love Vans.
Wait, do you have a
I love
question?
Yeti,
I'm just kidding.
and I love Dunkin' Donuts. And what Dunkin' Donuts does is they create a convenience, speed. So all about high speed. I enter in the app, I roll in. They have my cold brew with 1 pump of liquid sugar, and I'm out of there in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So what you just said is the
people
most
are
fascinating part
addicted
of this
to Dunkin'.
conversation, right? Are you brand loyal because of brand, or are you brand loyal because of attributes?
Or
Right? So like my
product,
in
customer
life
service.
cycles and life stages, are people loyal to a T where they will continue to follow that brand through their millennial early 20 years to retirement, or will there be brands that depend on inflection point in life cycle because they deliver different things, and that's what I look for?
I think that's a great question. I think it's category specific. I really do.
So, but you fell in love with Dunkin' Donuts
Because you're a
many
dad of
years
3.
ago, or
Yeah.
what I see, you have passion for their app like I have rarely seen. I mean, this man walks in here, it's like, this is the best app ever. So is it because of the convenience of the app, or when Freddie was 16, was he also Dunkin' Donuts is my brand?
It's convenience and high speed for me. So I am a guy that commutes from New Jersey. I get off the bus in Port Authority, which was where I saw your brother.
I'm sorry.
Happy birthday, Robert Correnti.
It's limited selection then for you.
Well, so in that specific example,
Right.
I say, hey, I submit my order. Are you ready to pick it up? Yes, I am. As I'm walking to the Q train, I pick it up on the way. It takes me 5 seconds. I'm on my train and I'm at the office. It takes me so convenience, as relates to that loyalty, is huge for me.
Yeah.
My question is, but if you're
Wait, app, come on up. Come on up, good earrings. Get over here.
okay, so my question is, but if you really want coffee and you see a Starbucks on the corner, will you not go to
Good
Starbucks
question.
in favor of searching out a Dunkin' Donuts?
So are you loyal to convenience or the brand?
Both. I won't go to Starbucks.
Because you like the coffee?
Yeah.
Because you like the product.
I like the product. I do.
Any other questions from the audience on that note?
Okay, we're one.
Yes.
One.
Come on up.
Come on up.
With your fabulous boots that she would make better.
Oh, I like those.
No, but I put inserts in them to make
Okay.
them comfortable. Okay, in talking about disruption of loyalty, what are a brand each of you used to be loyal to and a brand that came in and changed your mind, you're now re-loyal to
that's
another
really
one?
Yeah,
good
let's
question.
punt this to Alexa and Laura.
Yeah.
Can I go?
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was an Under Armour
Oh,
junkie.
yeah, that's true.
As somebody who grew up in athletics my whole life, I played soccer in college, got our ass whipped by University of Maryland, which was like this fucked up thing because Under Armour was born out of University of Maryland, and I have bad feelings about it, but I was loyal to the brand anyway because for the first time, a brand didn't pink it and shrink it. They actually thought about my body and what I needed them for and created a product that was specific. Then they went off the rails politically and did not align with what I stood for in values. And during that time, I was introduced to a brand that was just as comfortable called Allbirds. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. That was convenient, that was comfortable, and fit my life stage today. And I basically threw away all of my Under Armours, and now I only wear Allbirds sneakers out in the real world.
I don't know. I can't think of one that I like love the.
Yes, you can. Dagny Dover.
Oh. Have you guys, what women have heard of Dagny Dover?
Of course
Only
you have Ty. You're so fabulous.
Ty, only you? All right, so I'm a mom of a 2-year-old. I said it earlier. I'm a mess. I found like 5 pacifiers and like a bottle nipple in my purse the other day. I'm not kidding. That's not a joke. It's pretty gross. And I have my laptop. Like, my bag is my life, like most of us, right? Dagny Dover is this new handbag company started by 2 women. It totally understood what it's like to be a woman. They are cute as hell. Cute. Like, I have coworkers who came in. I was like, oh, I love that bag. They're like,
Real
it's Dagny
leather.
bag. And we were all like, oh my God, I've seen the ads. Real leather. But they have these really smart compartments that are like, you know, when people make like compartments and suitcases and things like that, and you're like, you know what? Great idea, but I'll never use it. These you use, and they come with little cute like makeup totes and da-da-da-da and da-da-da and your laptop sleeve and all this stuff that like just makes sense, fits in the bag, and I am totally into Dagny Dover.
So I think what we've learned today, if we can summarize, is loyalty is not necessarily about brand as a product. It can be about attributes. It could be about life stage. It could be a lot of things.
About emotion. Yeah.
Right.
So, anything else to add, my friends?
No, that's it. It's a lot of things to think about. So I think from a brand category specific, how are you seeing the world? And then from an individual perspective, what are your priorities, right? So that's how I look at it.
I think you are perfectly poised at a place where being as close to the customer and owning data that talks about these very things, what am I loyal to and why, put Shopkick at a very invaluable place for future-facing loyalty.
I also have can we just my last like can
I
we
was gonna
brainstorm
drop
for
the mic
2
on
seconds?
that.
That was great. I dropped. You dropped it, but wait, hold on. Another
She's like,
thing that we have to talk about that if we didn't talk about it, I'd be like, you know, I think that there's such opportunity for consumer brands that are engaging in the right way with influencers to actually sell through influencers and have, again, going back to community, having those influencers kick their audience and say, there's this awesome product, there's this awesome thing. And I think that that's going to help brands even more and something that you guys could broker. So maybe you become part talent house. Don't know.
Drop the mic on that note.
drop the
Thank
mic
you,
on that.
everybody. This
Thanks,
has
everybody.
been so much fun.
Yeah.